Good morning, friends. Good morning. I'm Black Dragon. I'd like to welcome you all to another edition of Black Dragon Biker News Network. Biker news you can trust. And as always, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in from wherever it is in the world that you happen to be. I didn't mean to pull you in there, Mike, before you knew it was coming. Hey, man.
All right.
Sorry about that. But listen, we'll be having a great time like we always do. Monday through Friday, I'm Black Dragon with your host, Mike Ball, doing our thing out here like we always do. Just hanging out and having a good time, man. Hey, listen, we are now the number one news show in all the land. The number one news show in all the land. And yeah, 7.5 years of this, man. Hey, you can get this kind of stuff Monday through Friday, hanging out with me and Mike Ball. Make sure to tune in, like, share, and subscribe, and you'll be hearing all your new greatest things. I got a new book out, The Social Club's Bible, The Social Club's Bible. Make sure you get that, and we thank you. I was a little off today.
Hey, no, that was fantastic. This is a big topic, so it's understandable. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. That.
You know, it's not like it's a normal day.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not. Not for us today.
No, this is the kind of stuff right here that I wish didn't have to happen. You know what I mean? Like, it's unfortunate, but I totally understand being behind the scenes. I know what's happening right now, so it's a big ordeal right now.
Well, it is to me, because my reputation has been called into question.
Right.
And
when that kind of happens, it's like, okay, well, you're gonna attack my character. Now all I have to do at this point, all I can do is defend myself. So it's understandable.
So yeah, sorry about that. So yeah, I guess we need to just get on into it. I did a video a few days ago, maybe a week ago, and this person starts attacking me in this video. Now, this is not uncommon because people attack me all the time. But this person said a few things in that video that only me and this person could possibly know. There was only 3 people involved. And, well, actually, there were about 5 people involved. 3 of those people were not even on the bike set. The other person was my daughter, my grandson, me, and a person that, for all intents and purposes, you could say would be my son-in-law. And at first, I didn't actually even realize who it was. Kind of screwed me up. And this person started attacking me when I did the video about the Wheels of Soul, the Thunder Guards having a good time. And I said, hey, yeah, man, I was involved in a video when they told me a little bit about what was going on, what was going to go on. I made this video with these guys, and they told me there's going to be peace among the 1%ers and stuff. And they invited me to be in their video. And it was kind of like the announcement video for what they were going to be doing. And I see this in the comments. You don't know what you're talking about. That video had nothing to do with anything. And I didn't particularly say the video had anything to do with anything. It was an announcement video. I was in it. We talked about it. This person's going back and forth. And I'm thinking, okay, whatever. Then I get this, you better not come to South Carolina. Don't come, you're not invited, or something like that. You won't be welcome, something like that. Don't come to South Carolina, which you guys know I was really thinking about going to go to the park. They're having this huge party, Thunder Guards, Wheels of Soul, having this huge party, and they're going to have everybody there. They're trying to institute a peace. And it just so happens, I mean, if you are a religious person, you can always say Satan always shows his ass when when things are trying to be good. There you can always look around and here comes somebody in the sauce. This always happens. So this don't come to South Carolina. You won't be welcome. You won't something like that. And I'm thinking to who in the hell is this? And then somebody said, um, one of the viewers said, "Hey man, don't show up here with that energy." And this comes back with, "I'll show up wherever I want if you only knew who I was." And then the friend that you're protecting, I'm counterphrasing, but the person that you're protecting, this black dragon dude, took the stand against a one percenter and caused him to lose custody of his child. Took the stand against a one percenter. He also called me a rat bastard, or a rat who took the stand against a one percenter and caused him to lose custody
That's
of
what he
his
said.
child. And I'm I'm sitting here thinking, I barely been in a courtroom anytime in my entire life, except to fight against tickets for going 100 miles an hour. One time I was doing like 135 with my girlfriend on the back. That cost me like $1,500. I was trying to think, like, when the hell have I ever taken a stand? Because in this, it was very careful, interesting phrasing. It's the kind of shit you tell somebody to make somebody angry, to mess somebody up. This rat, that means snitch in our culture, took the stand. That means you got on the stand and you testified against a one percenter and caused him to lose custody of his child. Now, he wrote this in a public forum, and then I heard it again from another one percenter from a major club. Told me, yeah, I heard about the issues you were having. And then sometime right before then, somewhere, I realized what the hell, it came back to me. I've tried to, I have never spoken publicly on this. In 7 years, I've never spoken publicly on this. I've always tried to let this be one of those things that's in your background. But I realize this guy's telling his club brothers and anybody else who would listen that I took the stand against him and that I caused him to lose custody of his child. So, since you want to go public with it, Mandel, then you want to put that shit on my channel and you want to tell people those lies. And when I met you, you didn't even know what a one percenter was. Certainly not what a motorcycle club was. And you have learned so much and risen so high that you can use what we used to call in the Navy key words and tricky phrases. How you word something. You word things in a way that it's very nasty and angry. You word things in a way that is designed to make people react, especially rah-rah boys. In my day, when I came into the motorcycle club world, rah boys were not as prolific as they are today. Because the motorcycle club world required receipts, especially when you said something like, this person's a snitch, that person's a rat, this person stole from the club. So there's certain kinds of things that you could do to put somebody out bad. Those days are gone. Now all the president has to do is say he's out bad and no motorcycle club will touch you. And there's nothing. I get calls every day from people who have been put out bad for some stuff that you used to didn't get put out bad for. And everybody's believing them. Everybody's listening to them. And there's like no way, nobody asks for receipts anymore. You can just take your club brothers and piss them off because you've told some kind of BS. And why? Why would they not believe you? Why would your boys that run with you not believe the BS you've said? And this is because people have stopped asking for receipts. In my day, if you were to throw some lousy something up there, some shitty, lousy, crummy, this rat took the stand, the next thing you would do in my day is throw a case number up. Case number such and such, transcript number such and such, Black Dragon took the stand against me and caused me to lose custody of my child. And if it wasn't him, it's somebody he told. Because that night that you choked my daughter, pushed her down in a puddle of water, attempted to suffocate her in that water, took her phone away from her, beat the shit out of her, punched her in the face, and used my grandson as a human shield against the police. That night, I absolutely would have taken the stand on your ass or anything else required to break you up off my family. But I did not take the stand against you. My daughter's attorney said, I don't need you to take the stand. I'll whoop his ass all by myself. So let's get into case number CF 2015-3994. Let's get into case number 2015-3994. I took the stand against you. 2015 CF 2015-3994, District of Oklahoma District Court. If we want to do this, we want to do this out loud. We want to do this out loud. Let's do this out loud. Because you're going to say something like that about me
on a public forum.
You're going to show me some receipts. Let me compose myself here.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of pages you've got pulled up. In the background, guys, he's got about 60 pages open because what do we do in this world? We provide receipts.
That's absolutely what we do. So
you cannot make a claim like that on a public forum and bring it to the internet and not expect him to defend himself on this point.
Let me first thing I want to pull up is the police report of that day. And when did that come to me? Was that yesterday?
That was yesterday. Yes.
guess I've lost that. I guess I have to go to the email and get it. Hold on one second
No
here.
worries. Go and get it.
Mike, I need a personal secretary. That's what I need.
Right. I wish I could work that part as well for you, but unfortunately I don't have access like that.
We are where we are right here. Give me 1 second here. I get too many emails.
I can't believe how many emails you get. It's unreal.
I guess now's the time to tell folks, if you want to hit me at blackdragon@blacksabbathmc.com, because I get so many emails, like just trying to find this one. I can't
I
believe
got
it.
it. Thing
And it
here.
just came yesterday. Okay, so I'll just have to search for it.
Yeah, typing in.
There we go. Okay, so for those of you, all right, here we go. So, the Dell City Police Department records clerk.
So hold on, it's not showing the correct page.
Oh, hold on. Sorry, I haven't pulled the page up yet. I can't see you because I'm on a different screen, Mike. So it's just you and me. The Dell City Records Clerk, 4517 Southeast 29th Street. S. Cluck is the name, and let me pull that PDF down. Here we go. We'll start here. We'll start on that fateful night. So, okay, you can show that screen now.
Okay.
So this is the incident report, and let's go right here to 201 500 6743. This is called a receipt. All right. When you make an accusation of somebody, you produce a receipt. Here's a receipt. This is the address. This happened way back in 2015. All right. It was at 2:00 in the morning. My daughter was, the report says that my daughter suffered domestic abuse by strangulation. Her man strangled the shit out of her, almost killed her. Offender did use alcohol. This happened at their home. This is called family violence, and the weapons involved were personal weapons. My daughter was 29 at that time, and her boyfriend, this man here, Mandel Laron Colbert, was 40 at the time. Now, what did he do to my child? Well, right here is the detailed explanation. So the police were there. They took photographs of the victim, my child. I have those photographs. I've never published them. I've never said a word about it.
No need to publish your personal.
No, absolutely not. So, and then this is the redacted information, addresses, the name of my grandson, stuff like that. Here is the narrative. Now, like I say, you can go get this yourself. You can go to the city of Dell City, send them an email, and they will send you this damn thing free of charge. This disrespectful, ugly thing. On 5/6/15 at approximately 2:40 in the morning, 0240. If you're military time, if you don't know military time, this means at 2:40 in the morning. Police officers responded to 4413 Southeast 44th Street in reference to a report of a domestic disturbance. Upon arrival, officers made contact with my daughter, who was distraught and located in front of the residence. She was crying and in an excited state. She advised that her boyfriend uh, had grabbed her. Her boyfriend had forced her from the residence following a physical altercation and grabbed her by the neck and slammed her up against the television inside the residence. Then she advised that he choked her with his hands, restricting her ability to breathe. This man choked my child. And he also struck her in the face using the palm of his hand, dragged her out into the front yard, fled back into the residence, locking the door upon officers' arrival. At that time, I observed markings and injuries around her face, neck, and chest, all consistent with the described assault. He was then observed through a window, the kitchen window, near the front door of the residence, eating a TV dinner. The police officer said, I approached the residence and made contact with Colbert through the glass. I advised him why officers had been dispatched and asked if he would allow me to enter the residence to obtain his version of the incident. He refused to open the door and insisted officers speak to him through the window. He was visibly agitated and appeared to be extremely intoxicated. At that time, Knight advised him, my daughter advised that he had made threats to engage in a shootout with the police. And officers backed away from the residence. So when that was going on, is when I first heard about it. I got a phone call. It was from him. Hey, John, your daughter called the police on me. I said, oh, hold up, my bro. My daughter don't call police. That's not what she does. So what did she do to you? What did you do to her, rather? What did you do? Why would my daughter call the police on you? Well, I had to get after her. I had to beat her. You had to beat my child. Well, you never did, so I had to. I never did, so you had to beat my child. Where's my daughter? She's outside in the front with the police. They're beating on the door. I said, well, where's my grandson? He's in there in his bed, John. And I said, so what's going on right now, man? I'm not going back to jail, John. Well, what the hell does that mean? It means I'm not going back to jail ever again. So I guess you're just going to have a standoff with the police? So I'm not going back to jail. I said, well, where's my grandson? He's in his bed. I said, well, why don't you just let my grandson out the front door, and then you can not go back to jail all you want. But you do understand that if they come in that house with my grandson, anything can happen. Your grandson's in the bed, John. My son's in the bed, and that's where he's going to stay, in his house where he belongs. Well, what if my grandson gets hurt, man? Well, it's better off that if he doesn't have a father, that none of us survives. It's okay. So that was my first inkling of that. And if it was 2:00 in the morning there, what time was it here? That was Oklahoma. So we go back to the thing. So while he's sitting at that table, he's on the phone with me. And I want to tell you something, Mike. I put me back on for again. I want to tell you something. I had never read this police report.
I know.
Until 2 days ago.
When you read it for the first time, you called me behind the scenes. And I'm not going to say too much, but all I know was you were about to lose it. So
I never read this police report. I only had this secondhand, and of course, I remember his phone call.
right.
But I had no idea about the rest of this that I'm about to read you. So you will know I have no problem taking the stand. I have no problem whatsoever taking the stand for my family or anything else.
Damn straight.
But to lie on me in the face of what's over here on the screen, to lie on me about that. Let's go back to the screen. So he approached the front door. He tried to get into the door. He asked the man, could he come in? And he refused to open the door, insisted officers speak with him on the outside. At that time, he had made threats to engage in a shootout with the police. And officers backed away from the residence. Now, when have a group of white cops ever backed away from the residence of a black man that won't be that will not obey? Normally, they just kill him. A second subject, another black male, and so now we got two black males, approximately 30 years of age and wearing a red jacket, was observed for a brief moment through the window as well. My daughter advised that the second male, known as Dreamer, was inside the residence, along with my 3-year-old, at that time, 3-year-old grandson. Kay Wayne just hit me up and said I look visibly upset. So calm down. Thank you, Great Keeper. We appreciate you over there in the comments. You must have been talking to me on private chat and I wasn't watching. So
Well,
yeah.
I promise you that this one is not going to be a lighthearted one, and there is going to be some emotion here, nonetheless. So
This other man wearing a red jacket was observed for a brief moment through the window. My daughter advised that that second male was known as a man named Dreamer. He was also on the inside of the resident, along with my 3-year-old grandson. He was reported to have several large and small guns and stated, "I ain't going back to prison," the police officer said. And the reason I know he said that is because he told me the same damn thing on the telephone. At that time, and so I didn't know this. I didn't know he had done this. This I read for the first time. At that time, Lieutenant Arterbury was contacted and advised of the situation. Officers then held a scene until Lieutenant Arterbury and Captain Scherer arrived. So they stopped. Those police officers stopped and called the lieutenant and the captain to the scene. And God knows who all else went. At that time, my daughter's sister, Amanda, came, and Mandel's father, a man named Stephen, came, arrived on the scene separately. I guess she had called her sister, and he had called his father, his father-in-law, that is. Both were advised to vacate the area, and so they went in a park nearby. Now, the father-in-law, this man, Stephen Briscoe, allowed Captain Scherer, because now they got like a hostage situation. He allowed Captain Scherer to make contact with Colbert with his own cell phone. Colbert denied the allegations against him. I didn't beat her up, but he refused to exit the residence. While on the phone with Captain Scherer, he opened the blinds and was observed picking up and holding his son, my grandson. And here it says he held the child in such a way it appeared as though he were using my grandson as a shield, as a human shield, to avoid arrest. After several unsuccessful attempts to convince him to exit the residence and put down his human shield, Captain Scherer advised officers, and put this on my face right now, Mike Ball. Captain Scherer, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for backing away from the residence. And he said he released the scene, put it back on there, as it was in the best interest of the child. I have to depend on Dell City police officers to protect the best interest of my 3-year-old grandson because his father was using him as a human shield. My daughter was transported to Dell City Police Department to conduct a formal interview. They released the scene because they knew that my grandson could be killed. I was reading this stuff. I was shaken, reliving this nightmare all over again. And it goes on. So while they took my daughter to the hospital, my sister and her sister were sitting outside. They were they never left. My sister never left, her sister never left, and his father never left. As soon as the police left the scene, he comes running out and throwing stuff into his father's car. My daughter, meanwhile, is being transported to the police station for a formal interview before they took her to the hospital. She stated the incident began at 2:00 in the morning when Colbert and Dreamer arrived at the residence drunk. Colbert became irate when he observed that my daughter had not cleaned the house or prepared dinner. She told me that he had called her up and woke her up and said he was coming home and to cook her dinner, and it was 2:00 in the morning, so she refused. So when he arrived there at the house, he was mad because the house wasn't clean. That's something that he told me out of his mouth. My house wasn't clean. And nor was his dinner prepared at 2:40 in the morning. During the argument, he began to prepare himself a TV dinner, but then threw it at her, threw it to hit her in the face with this TV dinner that he was preparing, and so she retreated to the bedroom. He followed her into the bedroom and continued to scream at her in front of this friend, stating, "You think it's a game?" And he called my daughter then a raggedy bitch, then demanded that she leave her own house, shouting, "Get the fuck out of my house," and threatened her if she stayed. Then he said he would fuck her up because he couldn't control myself. "I'm losing control. I'm going to F you up." She was afraid to leave without her son, however, because this time she said it was different. This time she told me it was different, and I was afraid that if my little 3-year-old son ran in there this time and said, "Daddy, leave mama alone," because at this point, this was happening regularly. And my grandson would come in and say, "Leave mommy alone." And she said, I was afraid this time he might turn on him because it was different because of the reason for his anger. And so she said she was afraid to leave without her son, who was in the living room with Dreamer she said her son had gotten up out of the bed when he chased her in the room, and now he's beating on mommy in front of my son, my grandson. He's beating on mommy, and in front of his son. And so he ran into the room and started playing with Dreamer. When night began stalling, because she said she was afraid to leave the room, when he began stalling, he grabbed her by her neck. You know, my daughter's 5'6". She weighed at that time probably 120 pounds.
Wow.
And when I close my eyes and I think about this person's hands around my child's neck, slamming her against the TV, and she had told me that she told me back then, I remember what she told me. She told me that he slammed my head into the television, and I thought the television was going to fall. And I realized that he was holding the television up through my face with his hand on my neck. That's what was keeping the television from falling. Because it was one of those big screen TVs, and the funny things that you think, and one of the things she was thinking was, oh, my television's going to fall. But it didn't fall because he's using her head to hold it up. So this was because she was stalling. She wouldn't get out of the house. It turns out that he would throw her out of the house all the time. Now, you know, my child never told me anything about this kind of stuff. But that this was going on. But she said that he slammed her into the flat screen TV in the bedroom, strangling her, then struck her in the face and threatened to kill her, grabbing her by the hair and throwing her out into the front yard through the front door. You guys can go read this. CFS 201-500-6743. This is called a receipt. Knight fled the scene and contacted the police using her cell phone while standing in a neighbor's yard. And she said, at this point, I thought he was going to kill my son or me. He was telling everybody he was going to kill him. After contacting the police, she called her pastor, Evangelist Wendy, we called her. Evangelist Wendy her name is Wendy Bryant. It seems that she had been contacting Evangelist Wendy in the past after being assaulted on previous occasions. While on the phone with Evangelist Bryant, he stepped outside the residence and stated, "If you have called the police, I will kill you." My daughter insisted she had only called Pastor Bryant. And then he continued his assault, striking her in the face with enough force to knock the phone to the ground. Then he took the phone, which now had broken into pieces, and threw it out into the street. My daughter said she had attempted to record the assault, the police officer said, using a specialized application on her phone. But when they got there, they could not find the phone. It couldn't be located at the time of the incident. He then dragged my daughter back toward the residence while telling her, I'm going to kill you. I know you called the police. I'm going to kill you. And he told her he would kill her if she made a scene. He stated, "Bitch," my child, "Bitch," he stated, "if the police show up at my house, I'll get my gun and kill you first. Then, of course, I'm going to have a shootout with the police because I'm not going back to prison. And, whatever happens to my grandson. Whatever happens, happens." He said, "I'll get my gun and kill you first. Then I will have a shootout with the police. I'm not going back to prison." My daughter attempted to flee, but he grabbed her and threw her to the ground several times until he managed to drag her back to the residence. While on the porch, he then stated, fuck, okay? Because he couldn't get her in the house. He couldn't get her into the house. She was fighting with everything she had. He couldn't get her in the house. And you know what? Fuck. I got something for you. I got something for you. And he went back into the residence. Now, terrified that the something that he had for her might be to hurt her son to get back at her, she approached the door but maintained her distance, stalling until the police arrived. And then, by some stroke of magic, when they finally arrived, tough guy ran into the house. Well, they said retreated into the residence. I say ran into the house. And they said, and secured the door. So my daughter provided a written statement. I made contact with Pastor Wendy by phone. Evangelist Bryant advised me that he had contacted her. Okay, so now there's the cop saying he made contact, rather, with Evangelist Wendy on the phone. And Wendy told him that after she had contacted her, the pastor, after being choked, while on the phone, Pastor Bryant stated she could hear the male subject begin shouting, "Put the phone down." The subject sounded as if he was getting closer to the phone each time he shouted at my daughter. And so Pastor Bryant stated she then heard the male subject shout, "I don't give a fuck who you're on the phone with. I don't care if it's your pastor. I don't care who it is." And she said then the line disconnected. That's when Pastor Bryant was on the phone calling the cops, and right after that. Bryant's information was obtained and included along with my daughter's written statement. After completing the interview, so now, as I told you, while they have my daughter down there taking the interview, he has this stepfather show up, starts throwing as much evidence as he can in his car, and in his car, he threw my grandson to have my grandson spirited away in the night to be taken God knows where, to be put with his family somewhere and disappeared for I don't know how long until we may have seen him again. So when he did that, my sister and her sister, my daughter's aunt and her sister, called and advised that he had fled the residence in the Cadillac with my daughter's son and appeared to be extremely intoxicated. My daughter's sister was following the suspect vehicle, and officers were dispatched to the area of Southeast 42nd and Woodford. A new officer, Officer Hogue, arrived in the area, and they're following the car. And they observed that the suspect vehicle made an improper lane change, and you know the police will pull you over for absolutely whatever they can on a situation like that. They thought he was in the car as well, so they initiated a traffic stop at the 3900 block of South Sunny Lane. Now, this is when the officer that was writing this report said he arrived on the scene because they threw my daughter in the car and they're rushing not to particularly get him, but to save my grandson. So they're rushing to get there. My daughter in the back of the car. And the officer Hogue pulled the man over. And so when he got on the scene, he was informed that Colbert was not in the car. The vehicle was actually being operated by his stepfather, and the child was located in the back seat. It says at that point, my daughter was transported to the scene immediately, and the stepfather released the child into her custody without incident. Well, it didn't quite go like that. I wasn't there, but I was told that he was very reticent about giving up my grandson. And that upon threat of, well, we'll search this car and anything we find in it, because what he said was his father gave me this kid. And so that's between the father and the mother, but I've been given this kid legally and I'm going to keep it. And the cop said, well, I tell you what, you're fine to do that, but if we search this car, anything we find in here, we're going to pin on you. And so that's when he gave up my grandson. That didn't make this report, so that's not a receipt. So you can take it with a grain of salt. But here is the receipt. So, the vehicle was being operated by the stepfather, and the child was located in the back seat. My daughter was immediately transported to the scene, and he released the child into her custody without incident. He was issued a verbal warning for the traffic infraction and was released on the scene. My daughter and her child were then released to her sister, who had remained on the scene. His location remained unknown at the time of the report, and it is believed that he used his father as a diversion to flee the residence and avoid arrest. So my grandson was the human shield, and the father was the diversion. My daughter was the punching bag. So if I went to court and testified, well, first of all, I wasn't there to testify. I could have testified about what he said to me on the phone. If I went to court and testified about my grandson, I wouldn't give a damn who you told. I wouldn't give a damn what they had to say about it. I really wouldn't. And I wouldn't give a damn what they wanted to do about it. But let's talk about the receipts. Because, no, take that down. I got to find another thing. Here we go. Let's talk about that case. Let's talk about the case where I reportedly took the stand against the 1%er. Well, for that case, for all those things you did, he was charged with domestic abuse with strangulation. He was charged with kidnapping. He was charged with domestic abuse with assault and battery. He was charged with threatening to perform an act of violence. He was charged with possession of a firearm while being a felon. Now, again, you can go to the Oklahoma OSCN.net and look up this case, CF 20153994. Here's your receipt. These are called receipts. CF 20153994. Now, a funny thing you'll notice is that all of these things dismissed. This was dismissed. Kidnapping was dismissed. Domestic abuse was dismissed. Threatening to perform a violent act was dismissed. And the possession of a firearm by felon was dismissed. He had picked up a couple other felonies between the time he went to court for this. And so the district attorney allowed this guy to get like the sweetheart. This is like the most amazing guy. His attorney, man, I tell you what, you better have a good attorney. All of this stuff was dismissed. He was able to get all this stuff dismissed except for one thing. They gave him domestic abuse by strangulation. This was the only thing they convicted him of. And they didn't even make him plead guilty. He pled nolo contendere.
And what does that mean for people that may not know what that means.
What NOLO means is I'm not going to admit to guilt, but I also realize that your case is strong enough that you would probably win in court. So I will accept the punishment of being guilty, even though I'm not actually admitting to guilt, but I'm going to take the punishment. If I got to go to, it's a tricky little legal procedure that they use in this case, so that you didn't have to go to court and allocute and tell the judge what you did wrong to get your sweetheart deal. And the district attorney didn't ask us about any of this because I'd have said, put his ass in jail. We'll take the roll of the dice. And the district attorney said, after promising, oh, don't worry, I'll get him in jail, blah, blah, blah. I'll put him away forever. After making all those promises, the district attorney said, I didn't want this to go to trial because you never know how a jury will decide. So they're worried about things like being reelected and stuff like that. So she said, don't worry, at least I got him on paper. And so that's what she got. She got to watch her abuser walk. And that's why women are so afraid to tell on these abusers, because they give them these sweetheart deals. You can see it right here. He was able to plead nolo contendere and only got convicted on one thing, which was domestic abuse by strangulation. So I ask, where in the hell could I have testified when you pled out? Where did I take the stand against the one percenter? When you pled the hell out, there was no trial. Here it shows the whole thing. It shows all the times he went to court and all the times, and all of this, he appeared in person, out of custody with counsel. And he waived the reading of information and enters a plea of not guilty. There was no time for me to testify there. There was no place for me to testify here or here. This was the initial bond hearing. You don't testify there. This is where they had a warrant. You're not. It's all in black and white. Here are the receipts. Or excuse me, black, white, green, and blue.
Yeah, right.
It's all in black and white and green and blue. Comes defendant appears in person with counsel, states present before the judge. It's all right here. You can follow it. All of it's right here. You can follow it. There was no place for me to. You pled out, man. So where did I take the stand against the one percenter? Where did that happen? It even shows that after they gave you this sweetheart deal and they charged him with $535, he didn't even pay that. He didn't even pay his court fees until they had to issue another warrant for his arrest. And he finally paid his court fees like a year later or something. Like he didn't even pay for a sweetheart deal until they were going to arrest him. So I asked then, who testified against the one percenter? Oh, he did. And who was the one percenter he testified against? My daughter, a full patch property of the Wheels of Soul Motorcycle Club. Ain't that a one percenter too? Ain't that part of the family too?
Absolutely.
Oh, what do you mean he testified against her? Well, here you go.
What's this?
This is when he takes her to court. He has her served. The tough guy had her served. Right here, plaintiff. This is case number FP2015-600. Here's the receipt. I can say, that's you? took a 1%er to court. You took a sister. You took a property to court. You turned on your own family and not only beat the shit out of her, but took her to court to sue for custody of her child. And in that proceeding, you called her a pill popper, a dope addict, and you said you were a better father, you had a better home. You said that she was a loose woman of the night, all kinds of things you said about my child to make them take her kid away. It shows it right here where you took the stand, you testified, you brought the white folks in against somebody in a 1% nation. You did that. I wonder why you didn't write that on my page. So here's where you had her served. That's the affidavit where you had her served with your big time attorney. And this is where the District Court of Oklahoma, right there, it says your name as plaintiff, her name as defendant. This is who got testified against. This is who got put on the stand. You had your big time attorney. She had legal aid. That's what she had. She had legal aid. It's right here. You can get it all. Next thing is finally, now this happened in May. When does my daughter actually do something in a court? After you, one, here's where you had her served. You had her served sometime in July, May, June, July. She ain't take no kind of court action or nothing. May, June, July, you serve her. August, she has to appear in court. And it wasn't until August when she went to court that she finally filed a cross application for you to keep her son, the one you tried to have, whisked away in the end of the night. This is when the 1%er finally had something to say to you. That's when the 1%er finally had something to say to you. When you took the 1%er to court. So you take her to court. This is when they actually go to court. Whenever you go to court, they have court minutes. Somebody writes something in handwriting. So they write something in paper, type it all up, but they always have something written in handwriting. I've learned now. And then the judge signs it. So here it says the parties agree to continue the matter. So what happened when you took my daughter to court was that night, they had filed some sort of temporary order of protection. And when you file a temporary order of protection, a person has to go to court and be heard. So they said right here, the judge says, we're not even going to hear your petition where you said my daughter was all kind of whores and raggedy bitches and shit. We're not even going to hear that until after we hear the petition for the order of protection. And so right here it says that the parties agree to continue the matter until the criminal hearing and stuff is over. They weren't even and the protection order. They're not even going to hear that until all that is settled. And so all of the names you called her, all of the things you accused her of, and she's a drug addict and this, that, and the other, this is all in the transcript. All of that stuff right there, the Department of Human Services has to investigate that. So this is the Department of Human Services And they state to the court that it reviewed the records, looking at my grandson and his life and all the things that were said about his mother, and they found nothing like that was true. And so the Department of Human Services, the child welfare people said that we don't have a dog in this hunt. We're not going to deal with this. And this is signed by the state attorney. And they said, no, nothing exists by which you should take my daughter's son. The Department of Human Services finds this to be a fit mother. So here again, petitioner, that's him. Defendant, respondent, that's her. Attorney, legal aid. This is when the legal aid attorney asked for a temporary victims protection order. This was in September, my friend. September. All of this stuff happened in May. So this is where they went to court. So like I said, they have a written thing signed by the judge. And then this is the typed up thing that talked about that this day where they went to court. And this is the application that he filed to reset the temporary order hearing to allow the okay, so there's something that happened in this, something weird. My daughter's attorney just came up dead. And so when she died, a new attorney came in, and this is the new attorney here. And the first thing he did was he reset the hearing so that my daughter could start appearing telephonically. So let me tell you what happens. Here's the stand I took. I didn't take the stand. I took a stand. I took a stand, not the witness stand, but the father stand. Because when you put a temporary order of protection against somebody, and now they got to go back and forth to court. They went back and forth to court, as you can see, about 5 or 6 or 7 times. Now, while they're going back and forth to court, did you know that in Oklahoma, because they gave him a temporary order of protection immediately that night or a day after or whatever, he gets this temporary order of protection. So he can't see her. He can't manipulate her. He can't scare her. She's hidden out at her family's house. So in order to get back at her, he files this motion to take her child from her. So she's got to go back and forth to court during all this. So did you know when you go back and forth to court and you've got a protection of order against somebody, they don't give you any protection. They just write down this damn piece of paper. And while you got this piece of paper, you pull into the parking lot. You got to be at court at 9 in the morning, let's say. You pull into the parking lot, and there's the guy that beat the shit out of you in the parking lot with you. Then you got to walk from that parking lot to the court. And the first time you see some cops is when they're protecting their own ass, where you've got to walk through the metal detectors. So you get to have some protection there. They're protecting themselves. And then when you walk out of the metal detector, you walk down the hall to an elevator, and you get in the elevator next to your abuser, and he glares at you, and he's looking at you mean. He could kill you right there. And you got to ride upstairs, and then you get off on the whatever floor, or you go downstairs. I can't remember. You get off on whatever floor, and now you're there with this accuser glaring over you, this big bad 1%er. And now you're supposed to go in court and talk about what happened to you. Leave court, walking next to this guy, go down the elevator, go down the, walk out the hall, go past the guys protecting themselves. They don't protect on the way out. You just get to go out. You got no protection all the way back to the car. And this is a protection order. You got no protection. No one to take a stand for you unless you got a daddy named Black Dragon. And I got on my motorcycle and I rode 13 hours, 110 degrees outside. I weighed 370 pounds and I was afflicted with diabetes. And it was a painful, hard effing ride.
From Atlanta, Georgia,
To
all
Oklahoma
the
City.
way to Oklahoma.
13 hours to make sure that you don't walk from that parking lot to that building and you don't stand in the hallway and you don't ride up the elevator with this scowling, evil, mean person all by yourself. Your daddy will be there taking a stand. And I wish MF would. And I didn't have no club. I didn't have no Black Sabbath. I didn't call my brothers. I didn't have that motorcycle club. He had that club call me. He had that club call me. But when they found out what was going on, because of course he didn't tell them, it's that he took the stand against the 1%er. Rah, 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 rah. When they found out what was going on, they did not stand behind that. I was a national president of a motorcycle club. I didn't take my club. I didn't take my brothers. But I do have to give a shout out right now to the Buffalo Soldiers. At that particular time, my truck wasn't running the greatest to be running back and forth to Oklahoma City. So I bought a motorcycle, that Victory. I bought that Victory so I could run hard. Now, normally on the Victory, I'm running 115 or something. And I found that the police never really pulled me over when I was screaming on the motorcycle like they would when I was driving in the truck. Whenever they saw me riding a motorcycle or something, especially in my colors, I never really got pulled over a whole lot. So I bought that motorcycle, but I didn't have enough money to buy the tag. Here in Georgia, the tag goes with the motorcycle, with the owner. So I told this Buffalo Soldiers Motorcycle Club. I told this guy who sold me that motorcycle. I said, "Listen, man, I've got some issues with my daughter. I've got to run back and forth to Oklahoma. I cannot buy my tag for about 3 weeks, but I need to take this bike, and I need to have your tag." And that Buffalo Soldier was like, "Man, I don't know you. You could get a speeding ticket and on my tag." And I said, "I'm absolutely probably going to get a speeding ticket, but I will not leave it on you." And he said, "All right, National, here's my tag. I'm trusting you. I don't know you. I'm trusting you. Don't F it up." This is what a biker did for me. And I never said anything publicly, but I want to thank you. I want to thank the Buffalo Soldiers Nation for having a guy like that who actually lowered the damn price of that motorcycle because I told him I have to have this motorcycle to get to Oklahoma. And he lowered the price of that motorcycle and made sure I had it. And I have to thank my boss. I have to thank my boss, Becky. Because when she found out that I had to roll back and forth to Oklahoma, she said, "Do your job from your hotel room. Don't come in here. You go take care of your daughter." And I got to thank my boss in Israel. I got to thank her too, because those women made sure that I had what it what I needed to be able to have a paycheck and still be able to ride back and forth. I have to thank my boss Jill in Israel, who I quit working in 2017. She called me on that day when those when everything happened in September 6th in Israel and all the people were murdered and everything. She called me, and and I felt for her and the situation she was going through, because when I was in my time of dire need, there they were. So I rode across the country. It's August. It's September in Oklahoma. I can tell you it was 100 some odd degrees.
It's gonna be super hot.
And this is and I had gotten off my Gold Wing, and my Gold Wing had all these intricate things, cup holders and stuff. I could have a big gulp, which I'm glad I stopped drinking those. That's what was giving me diabetes. But I could have a big gulp and just be riding down. But the Victory didn't have room for all that stuff. So it was just a hot, miserable ride. This is when I really became able to ride 1,000 miles a day, because it's like 832 miles or something like that from Atlanta to Oklahoma, 840 miles or something like that. It can be up to a 16-hour run. And I would have one day to get there, and I could get up at 5 in the morning and be there, or I could get up, I could leave in the evening, ride all night. And this is when I realized that the best riding across the country, especially if you're going through the Midwest across I-40, with all those 18-wheelers on, the best riding is 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, because you can scream. You can scream at about 120 miles an hour, and the only thing you got to worry about is outriding your headlights. I was riding so fast, I outrode my headlights.
That's scary.
Be so tired at night, you see something in the road and you open your eyes again and it's not there. You're seeing mirages and stuff in the middle of the night. I used to sleep on the ground underneath my motorcycle at the rest stop at the Indian Casino going into Oklahoma, and the tribal police got to the point where they would just come check on me. These are the people that aided me while I was taking a stand. So that at 9 o'clock in the morning, I got off that motorcycle, had my cowboy boots, polish them up real quick, throw on my sport coat and my cowboy hat, and step up to that door, up to the car where my daughter, her family would bring her, and they would open the door and deliver my child to me. And then we walked upstairs into that courtroom with this person scowling, looking evil. Many times he would come up to me face to face, get in my face like this in the hall in the courtroom, face to face. Well, I guess that was supposed to scare me, but it didn't. Took my daughter to that courtroom. But this new attorney comes in. Her attorney died. She just mysteriously died of something. And this new attorney comes in, and he says, "This is crazy. What is she going back and forth to court for? She got to stand and face this guy that beat her down? No, we're not doing that." So on this document right here, he comes now, the respondent, that's her, the defendant. He says, through her attorney, Mr. John B. Monet, "And I have to thank you, Mr. Monet, because you said you would win this case. And you did." And so what he said is that he wants to reset her hearing to allow her to testify telephonically. And you should have seen what happened when this attorney got my daughter on the stand. When she had come there in person, this attorney, this vicious, mean little vile attorney, this man, hired, who called her all kinds of whores, thugs, drug dealers, drug inflicted, drug addicted. This is what happened to the to the property. She was the one snitched out on.
Defendant.
Defendant.
Remember, plaintiff is the one that takes the person.
The respondent, the defendant. So this is a child custody case that you brought, man. You brought the child custody case. Nobody was trying to take your child. You were trying to take somebody else's child. You were trying to take the child that you made with the beautiful, wonderful, gorgeous young lady, my daughter. And you brought this, and you brought it all. You brought it all. You brought the big time attorney. She had legal aid. You didn't even pay for her attorney. You brought the accusations. She had no accusations. You brought the Department of Human Services into a property of, to a sister of the club.
And then brought it to the internet.
So this next document here, this next receipt, like I say, when you go, there's a written thing, there's a type thing, and then there's a written thing. So this is the written thing. And we're all the way, looks like we're all the way in November here. So, this was the, now this was his attorney, Bo Williams, this really evil man, her attorney, John Monet. So now we've gotten into November, and they're going to hear the case, the permit. So now it's gone to a permanent victims protection order. And this is the other piece. This is the really crazy piece. So remember when I said back here that they agreed to wait until the case went and the victims protection order and he goes to trial over the things that he said he did. The judge had said, okay, I'm not even going to listen to this. I'm going to give you a chance to clear your name over there. All the charges against you might not be true, so you might be found innocent. So they were waiting for that trial before they made a determination on the custody hearing that he brought up. So this is what came out of that. After they heard that, then they said, we're not even going to hear the protection order case. We're not going to make a judgment on the custody case because you were found guilty, nolo contendere. So here is another place where he this is where he had he was the plaintiff, and again, she's the defendant. I might be showing the same things over and over again, which I think I am doing. So this is the piece of paper where she appeared in person. It's they write this down who comes with them. So her sister was there. No. This right here, this is where when he served her way back in June, when he served her, he actually served her mother's house and he served her sister. So he snitched on her parents, her mama and her sisters, and everybody he could bring into this, he did. This is the guy that was going to court. Nobody took the stand against the 1%er. The 1%er turned the courts on everybody else. So the final adjudication here was that they gave a permanent victims protection order. This is what he means when he says, I lost custody of my child. And they said the permanent victims protection order resolves the issue of visitation and custody. So we're not even going to hear your issue of visitation and custody because you were found guilty of beating that girl in front of her child, and we find you to be dangerous to both. So they gave a permanent victims protection order, and they said the victims protection order in and of itself resolved the issue of visitation and paternity in the case. The victims protection order did that. For the lawsuit that you brought in the case that you took the trial, you took the stand, you did those things, not Black Dragon. And here's all the real paperwork. I've had it for years. It was in a file, and it had crumpled up in the file. There's so much more that I'm not even reading. But you can get the receipt anytime you want the receipt. You can get the receipt. The receipts are there.
This is what we do in the biker world, is provide receipts. If you're going to accuse somebody of something, like taking the stand, that would be in black and white.
And
This
green
is
and,
black and white right here.
green and blue and all those other things.
And yeah, the green and blue. So I wonder, are you not welcome in South Carolina?
Well, I really wouldn't give a damn if I was welcome or not. I'll be there. I don't know if I'll be there because I hadn't made up my mind 100% to go.
Right. And remember how we were
I've
just
got-
talking about that I wanted to attend with you. You know
And
how
I've
cool
got
that
the-
would be.
I've got the proc coming up, the professional.
Oh yeah,
convention.
you did tell me about that.
I'll be
Yes.
speaking at the proc a week later. So I wanted to make sure that I was set up to do the proc, and I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to be running off to South Carolina or not. But I tell you one damn thing. If I decide to go, I'll be there by myself. I ain't taking no. I refuse. I forbid my club from even showing up. I haven't had my club in not one piece of this. I didn't tell nobody, oh, well, the 1%er did such and such. I need you to roll with me. I didn't do any of that. I handled this. I went to be seen. And if they had said, Black Dragon, Mr. Bunch, we're going to need you to testify, I'd have said, where do I sign?
Right. Right. And so would I. I got 2 daughters myself. I would have done the same damn thing. But guess what?
But if
You didn't even do it.
If he had typed, you would have testified against the 1%er, I would have said, I damn sure would have.
Right.
But I'm a rat. Well, go find it in the paperwork. Pull down the transcript. You got all the numbers. You got the case numbers. Pull it down. Got all the paperwork, all the receipts. Pull them down. So, if you want to get your rah-rah boys together, that's fine. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. I ain't stopped riding. I ain't stopped riding in the last 7. This happened 7 years ago. Have I gone one less place? Have I gone one less place? Was I in Daytona Beach by myself? Did I hide? Did I take my internet page down? Do I not put my address out every day and tell you where I'm at? Come party. I say be on your best behavior. There's one way in, one way out, but come party here at the Black Dragon's Lair.
Here, I'll put it up on this episode. right there.
So, you damn right. If I feel like going to South Carolina, I'm going to South Carolina.
Damn straight.
I went to Daytona Beach. I've been everywhere. Where have I not been on my motorcycle?
Even down to all the way to Oklahoma. You ain't scared to see anybody face to face.
I'm going to say this. In this world, it's dangerous to walk to 7-Eleven. You could be struck by lightning or somebody in a car or held up or carjacked. Never forget the picture, the video of the guy putting gas in his car and all these thugs roll up, jump out of the car, just take his car and he sprays them all with gasoline. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't.
He sprayed them all with gasoline. Like 8 people got ready to get out the car. He sprayed them all with gasoline. And they jump back in that car because like one spark and they'd all been dead.
Right.
Anything can happen to you at any time. So you cannot live this life terrified of what the next person's going to do to you.
Right.
Any day is a good day to die.
I know this.
And I don't mind. I don't intend on dying for what I believe in. I don't mind watching you die for what you believe in. I believe that my daughter had the right to not get up and make dinner if she didn't want to. She had the right
Especially at 2 a.m.
She had the right to have as dirty a house as she wanted to. She had the right to call her pastor on the phone. She had the right to call her dad on the phone. She had the right to live. My grandson had the right to life. He ain't done nothing to nobody. He should not have been put in the line of fire. You're
As a
mad that you
human
lost custody
meat
of
shield.
you lost custody of the kid that you held between you and the cops. Because had that child not been there, they'd have come in the front door and got your ass. And I know it, and you know it. And the time that you called me to meet you face to face, I know and you know that I showed up. I came to meet you face to face. And you had a motorcycle wreck on your way to meet me face to face. You had a motorcycle wreck and you went to the hospital. And we've been face to face many other times since then. And people say, oh, if you touch my daughter, I'll kill you and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, if I walked in the door and you were beating my daughter at that time, I absolutely would. Anybody would. But there was a different way. They had gone after you. At some point they arrested you. You got away that night. They arrested you. There was a judicial system. So we let it go through the judicial system. You tried to bring your club in on me. They didn't go for it. And I have to thank the Wills for that. They let it be known. No, we're not standing behind that. That's what they said. Take care of your family, man. That's what they said. So I guess it's been an hour.
Hey man,
So you
I
guys
knew
know. So you now know. It's been an hour and a half. Jesus. And so you now know. You now know. I do news stories, and this one I've done on myself. And this is the ugliest. People always say, you know, you say the ugly things about our clubs, this, that, and the other. Well, now here's the news story on myself. I want this dirty laundry out there. I don't want folks to know that a guy that I put my arm around and called a son-in-law use my daughter as a punching bag, telling her stuff like, if you tell your father, I'll hurt him. She's terrified to tell him. So
Listen, I wanted to say that I think I speak for everyone, that everyone holds you to the utmost respect on all of this.
I don't care if they do or if they don't.
I know, I know.
This is
I
my
just want,
grandson that you used as a human shield.
of course,
The
I
Black
want,
Dragon took the stand against the 1%er, that rat. Only folks calling the lion, not even my daughter called the lion when you separated her from her son and said you was going to kill everybody and you drunk. And I know the reason why that happened, and that's his personal family business, and I won't put that out. But there was a reason that he was mad and he was home and he was drunk and he came in late. There was a reason, and that shit was his fault too. So he's mad, he comes home, he's angry, he calls, get up and cook my dinner. And he said, I caused him to lose custody of his son. The only people that have lost custody here are the grandparents. I haven't seen my grandson in years. When she got her permanent order of protection, she disappeared off the face of the earth. I haven't seen my grandson in years.
nor your daughter.
And oh, nor my daughter. And her mother died. Her mother died last December. She didn't even go to the funeral. And his parents haven't seen their grandson in years. Only people that lost custody here behind your custody order was everybody around you. And you still, I could have understood, man, I done something wrong. I lost my family. I feel really bad about it. Ain't nothing changed. Same rah BS. Let me coerce all my brothers who don't know anything about the story. Let me coerce them. Let me get them all riled up. Let me say some Black Dragon, the man you're protecting turned rat, testified against a 1%er. That stuff you put out to put somebody's name out bad. Let me tell you something. In the motorcycle club world, there used to be honor, respect, values, paperwork. I think that's gone now. I think that's gone now. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Oh, hey, where'd you go, Mike?
I wanted to give your time, sir. This is a heavy episode, you know what I mean? And I didn't want to give too much of my own
No,
input on that.
you. I don't want you to give any of your own.
Yeah,
You just
exactly.
you sit out there in California
Yep.
and don't speak on
And
this
that's
at all.
exactly what I'm doing. I just
That's
want
what
to
you're
say
doing.
that I've just got the utmost respect for you. That's it.
Well, I met you, kiddo, when you lost your leg, and
While I was in that hospital bed.
and you reached out to me, and I said, "Oh my God, this is one of my my viewers, and I've got to. He's laying in the hospital with his leg off. I got to reach out to him, and I got to meet you, and I got to meet your parents, and
Yep.
and then we had some ups and downs because you were also at the same time the best friend of Sos the Ghost, the guy I can't stand worth a damn,
Right.
and
It's understandable.
and we went through our ups and downs because you were best friends with both of us, but you were a business partner with him,
Right.
and every time I would say something horrible, we wouldn't speak for weeks and stuff, and I but you would still call me, and you would still call me and say, "I can't stand you. You're such an asshole. I'm just calling to see how you're doing," and then I'm getting off the phone. And you never stopped calling and never stopped calling to check on me, even when we went through our worst. And I grew up and I made you a promise. I said, I won't talk about your business partner anymore. I think our friendship is worth, if it's gonna upset you like that, um, because I'd be sick sometimes, and the only person that would call would be you and one of my club brothers. And
Right.
you and so I said, okay. And then one day I was so mad because you were helping everybody else's channel and they were all exploding. And I called you up screaming, I want to know what you're doing on those other channels. I want my channel to explode. You said, okay, okay, I got you. I got you. And next thing you know, my channel exploded. So
Yeah,
these are the good
man.
things that you,
I'm happy for you, man. And when it comes down to stuff like that, you have to remember that everything is individualistic. You know what I mean? Just because you may not like what's going on over here doesn't mean I don't personally like you. You know what I mean? Like you have to have the social maturity to understand that on my end. You know what I mean? So it, I looked at you as someone that was a very special person in my life. So of course I'm not gonna, go
and
anywhere.
it's just been most amazing to have you 27 years old. It's really cool to be able to bounce things off you. I think you're going to do big things in the biker world.
I
We
appreciate
already
you.
have done big things in the biker world.
Thank
So
you. Thank
a
you.
lot of things that people don't know about you, but we're going to do that. That's what we need to do. We need to interview Mike Ball. But
We'll
I
do something
appreciate,
fun.
huh?
We'll do something fun like that.
I appreciate you, young man, and I got to tell you, when I first started reading this stuff, I never read this stuff before. I had this file, I just never ever read it.
Right, going all the way through
I
because I
just
mean it's traumatic. It's traumatic. Why would you want to sit there and want to scroll through every little bit until
well,
something like this where you're pressed on an issue and getting accused of something?
you figure you lived it. It's kind of like the movie Biker Boys. I made the movie Biker Boys, and I've only seen. I didn't. I made it with a bunch of other people. I helped to make the movie, and I've only seen it a few times because I lived it. You don't have to see it. I wonder, do people who make movies ever actually go back and look at them? Because I've written 7 books and I've never gone back to reread a one. I probably should. But anyway, reading through this stuff, it broke my heart. It took me back to a place, and I just don't know why anybody would, with this kind of stuff existing, I don't know why somebody would start lying and telling folks BS lies. Except for that's what you do now. You rah everybody up. Rah 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 rah. But anyway, that's my 2 cents. Love to hear your 2 cents in the comment section below. I'm just, my goodness, I wasn't even looking at were you putting up uh chat statements?
What I was doing for when it was heavy talk, I was leaving those out, you know what I mean? And then for in between stuff, absolutely. But this was a heavy one. You were in your element, so it was hard for everyone to keep up with the chat on that one.
Yeah. So
But we love every single one of you guys from the bottom of my heart. And also I do want to real quick special shout out. I got Dana Halt coming in with a YouTube membership. I appreciate. I just wanted to
Is
do
that
a
on
nice
your
little shout out.
side?
Yeah,
Oh,
that is.
oh wow. I want some YouTube members.
Yeah, man. I've got 3 different tiers. I've got
Oh,
the
you gotta help me set that up, man.
I've got prospect, full patch, and officer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how my channel breaks it down. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but you haven't
Well,
helped my
we'll break
channel.
down something special for you. We got you. So, anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and get in the back. Much love and respect to everybody. Thank you for being here.
He's got prospects, members, and officers. I don't have a membership set up, but that's getting ready to happen as soon as they remonetize the channel. Listen, we do everything for our children. Um, and just because it's never too late to be a father. It's never too late to become a father. You might not have been there in the beginning. You might not have been there when it all started. Whenever you put on your fatherly hat, it'll be time. And your kids will always need you. So you do whatever you can for your kids. Because typically they're innocent. And if you have a daughter or even a son, the guys get not as many, but it does happen. You owe it to your family to keep them safe as best as you can. So I'm Black Dragon. I'm a human. I'm no comic book character. I'm no guy who flies around or anything like that. Sometimes people get so excited when they see me. Oh my God, I can't believe it's Black Dragon. I'm not that guy. I'm a regular person. I have regular fears, regular anxieties, regular issues, regular health issues. Just a guy who picked up a cell phone one day and started recording. And then I got a webcam and I bought a studio. I'm no different than you are. I have the same problems and issues and the same dysfunctional families and all kinds of stuff. And I'll never try to be anything that I'm not. I'm not bad. I'm not tough. But I'm not fixing to be pushed around. And I will give my right side to protect those I love. Because in the end, that's all we got. That's all we have. Got a new book, the Social Clubs Bible. That book is for women in social clubs. You now have your book. Nobody has ever written anything for y'all ever before. You have your book that tells you everything about the motorcycle set, everything about the history of motorcycles, history of motorcycle clubs. If you read this book, you will be up to speed with MC protocol and social club protocol, and this will be your book to show you and teach you everything I could think of. I interviewed several founders of social clubs and took as much information as I could to make sure that you guys could have this book. And so it's for you. You can get it at blackdragonsgear.com. It's also available on Amazon and Kindle. I will be at the PRO, the PROC. I will be there to I'll be speaking at the PROC I think Saturday in the breakout session. I'll be there with my books if you want to get them there. So make sure to I'll see you there. It's a good possibility that I will be in South Carolina this Saturday or Friday, whatever day it is. if I can get my butt there, I definitely will be there. So that's me. That's what I'll be doing. I appreciate you guys all. I love you all. I thank you for being with us for 7 years. Hey, Mike Ball, we just went over 150,000 subscribers a few days ago.
Man, congrats on your success. Look at what happened is all over within what, 2 months?
2 months. 2 months.
I mean, we were chilling at what,
Yeah, we
73,000,
had 73,000.
which is a major, that's huge
It took me
alone.
it took me 7 years to get to 73,000. I consulted with you over a weekend, and it took me 2 months to get another 70,000. That's crazy, Mike Ball.
Listen,
I should keep you as a secret. What's going to happen is people are going to be, no, you didn't do anything. Yeah,
listen, I'm just here in the background doing nothing. All right.
Stop the cap.
Hey, did you do that? Anyways, much love and respect to everyone, and to you as well, BD. That was a very heavy one, and
Yeah.
thank you for being so honest and showing that you're human just like everyone else. You know what I mean? Because you are. And like I said in the chat, we are all, whether we're fathers or whatever, we are human. So
Amen.
this
All right.
this is gonna reach a lot of good people. So
All right. So listen, I appreciate you guys. You guys have a great day out there and do great things. Try to treat people around you like precious pieces of irreplaceable gold, maybe even platinum mixed with some diamonds. You know what I mean? And take care of yourselves. I'm Black Dragon. That's my 2 cents. Thanks for tuning in and have a very, very productive day. Yeah. Music, please. We're out. Prepare yourself to take the helm as president of your mighty motorcycle club by delving into the pages of Black Dragon's newest book, The President's Bible, Chronicle 1, Principles of Motorcycle Club Leadership. There you will learn to advance your skills in applying the 14 scientific principles of leadership similar to those taught to officers in the United States Naval Service. Available in hardcover, paperback, and ebook. Get yours today on Amazon, Kindle, or order it at your local bookstore. Order your autographed copy from blackdragonsgear.com. Be the best motorcycle club president you can be. Get the book.
Get Black Dragon's first book, The Prospect's Bible, to learn how to join a motorcycle club. It has been an Amazon #1 bestseller for the past 7 years and is required reading for over 3,000 motorcycle clubs worldwide. This book is a must-have for new people venturing onto the motorcycle club set. It will teach you how to prepare yourself for service to the motorcycle club nation and show you how to qualify a motorcycle club to be worthy of your service. Available on Amazon, Kindle, and for order at your local bookstore. Get your autographed copy at blackdragonsgear.com. Be the best motorcycle club prospect you can be. Get the book.
Oh, I forgot to tell you guys, there's going to be a social club breakout here in Atlanta in February, next February. So in my next show, I'll tell you guys all about the social club breakout that's happening. So we'll be covering social club stuff too. I forgot to tell you guys about that, and we'll cover that in the next show.